I was just thinking of that famous one-liner from the Zen tradition as we were speaking just moments ago, that Zen is a finger pointing at the moon.
Right.
And that the practitioner must be careful to not mistake the finger for the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The way that I guide people towards this realization, or attempt to kind of guardrail people away from what's been called spiritual materialism, right? Becoming more concerned with the practice than the being, is I keep the practices that I recommend as lean as possible.
Right.
And I recommend as few as possible. So these days, I actually begin with students, in a way of speaking, at the end. And what I mean by the end is, I give them the most profound spiritual instruction I ever came across, which is to rest naturally without seeking or describing anything.
Yeah.
Rest naturally without seeking or describing anything. Most people find that instruction very difficult. The reason being, we've been so trained into doing.
How?
And so,
Right.
indeed. Oh, man. I mean, you've hit the nail on the head. So often I get the question, well, how do I rest?
Yeah.
Resting isn't a doing.
Right. How do I just
there is no
allow
how.
everything?
And I mean,
how do I allow everything to be? Right? Well, it's already being.
Yeah. And so this points to the great illness that plagues our modern culture, which is precisely that we have forgotten how to rest. We have forgotten what rest is.
Right.
We've replaced it with doings in every direction, such that we take rest to be more doing, meaning we go out and party, we play video games, we socialize, we fix up our house, we wash the car, we do chores, right? Anything, any number of things that are not just resting, just doing nothing.
Right.
In fact, most people are lamentably uncomfortable when you just sit them in a room by themselves with nothing to do. Oh, there was an experiment done on this that someone reminded me of recently. And I'll butcher the specifics, but the gist of it was they had a bunch of people sit in a room with nothing going on, except they could press a button to give themselves an electric shock. Almost everyone pressed the button, and the experiment only turned out to be about the amount of time it took. So it wasn't about whether or not they would press the button in the end. It was just how long before these people hurt themselves.
Yeah, they would rather
because they're so uncomfortable.
Right, they would rather feel physical anguish than face or even like be with the neurosis of their mind.
Yeah. Right. What does that tell us about our current position as a society? Right. It's really quite damning.